Welcome back, Deep Divers. Today we're gonna be diving into Jane Campion's The Piano.
Oh, the piano. That's a great choice.
I think it's a film that really has stood the test of time and continues to resonate with audiences,
Yeah.
even decades later.
Yeah.
And we got some really fascinating material to dig into.
Okay, great.
So the movie takes us to 19th century New Zealand.
Wow.
And it's really more than just a period piece, right? It's
That,
about so much more.
yeah, what really struck me was how this, rugged, untamed wilderness of the setting, it's almost like a reflection of what's going on with the characters. Their emotions. It's like the landscape itself is another character.
Yeah, it's almost like you can feel that kind of wildness, that rawness seeping into the story.
Totally.
And speaking of raw emotion, we meet Ada, right?
Okay.
This Scottish woman who arrives with her daughter, Flora,
Uh-huh.
and she's brought her piano with her, which is like, a pretty significant piece of luggage.
It is, yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Ada is speechless,
Mm.
and the film never really tells us why.
Mm.
She expresses herself through her music, through sign language. Flora acts as her interpreter.
Right.
Um, So I guess the question for us, for the viewers, is, what do you think contributes to this silence? What's your take?
Well, I think that's one of the things that makes this movie so thought-provoking. It doesn't give you easy answers. You're kind of left to ponder, is it trauma? Did she choose this? Or maybe it's like a little bit of both. Campion really wants us to think?
It's like she's inviting us into Ada's world, but she's not giving us all the pieces of the puzzle.
Exactly.
And that piano, it becomes like more than just an instrument,
Hmm.
right? It's almost like an extension of Ada.
It's like her voice, her soul.
Exactly, exactly. And then we have Alistair,
Okay.
Ada's husband,
Hmm.
who, he arranged this marriage from afar.
Right.
And he's a settler. He's really eager to carve out a life in this new land.
Yeah.
But he seems completely unprepared for Ada,
For who she is.
and
Yeah.
who she is.
Yeah.
He wants intimacy, but he doesn't know how to deal with her silence. He
Mm.
doesn't understand it.
You can tell there's a real disconnect between them, like he's representing that kind of traditional masculinity that doesn't know what to do with anything outside the norm.
He's almost threatened by it.
It seems like it.
Like it challenges his worldview. And then we have Baines,
Oh, Baines. Okay.
this, kind of rough around the edges character, who's really immersed himself in the local Maori culture.
Yeah, he's different.
And he's immediately drawn to Ada. He's fascinated by her. And I think he represents a very different kind of masculinity, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. He's more in tune with like the wildness of everything, of the place of Ada, but he's also a complicated guy.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, where is the line between attraction and, maybe taking advantage? It's interesting how Campion does that.
It's a really fine line that he walks. And that complexity really comes to a head when Alistair decides to trade Ada's piano to Baines.
Can you believe that?
It's like such a powerful move, because it's not just about the piano. It's about, like, who has the power, who's in control. And in a way, Alistair's like giving away Ada's voice.
It's almost like he's giving away a part of her without even realizing it.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up when you think about it.
And then it gets even more complicated, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because Baines offers to let Ada earn her piano back key by key if she does certain favors for him.
Ooh.
And it becomes this really kind of, dangerous game between them.
It's all about desire and manipulation and defiance.
Yeah.
It makes you ask some hard questions like, is Ada really in control here?
Yeah.
Or is she being used? It's tough.
It's really tough to watch, and it definitely makes you think. And all of this is happening while Flora, Ada's daughter, is watching, observing this whole, intricate dance between her mother and these two very different men.
Poor kid.
Talk about a complicated childhood. What do you think? What role does she play in all this? Well, I think she's like this bridge between, her mom's silent world and the world where everyone's talking. She's always translating, explaining, and trying to make sense of all the tension.
He reminds us that kids pick up on everything.
Yeah, they see more than we think.
And that's really apparent in that scene where Flora betrays Ada's secret to Alistair.
Oh, yeah.
And it has some pretty devastating consequences.
It really does. That betrayal is huge. It's about loyalty and secrets, but it's also about how kids try to figure out the adult world, even if they end up hurting people they love.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It really is. So we left off with Ada facing the aftermath of Alistair's horrible act. It really changes everything for her, don't you think?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, You'd expect someone to completely shut down after something like that. But Ada, she shows this incredible resilience.
And it gets even more powerful when Alistair sends Ada and Flora away with Baines.
Wow.
They leave from that same wild beach where they first arrived, but now the piano is on the boat with them.
Such powerful imagery, right? It's like the piano, which used to represent me being trapped, now it's going with her on this journey into the unknown.
But the journey is far from easy. There's that really intense scene where Ada wants Baines to throw the piano overboard.
Oh man, that scene gets me every time. It's just heartbreaking to watch that beautiful instrument sinking into the ocean.
It's like she's trying to drown her pain, you know?
Yeah.
The piano, her voice, it all just becomes too much to bear.
And then she goes even further, right? She ties herself to the piano and jumps into the water.
It's like a symbolic suicide. She's trying to erase everything, to disappear with the thing that wants to find her.
But then she changes her mind, doesn't she? She fights her way back to the surface.
It's such a powerful moment. It's like she chooses life. She chooses to break free from everything that's been holding her down. And then we jump ahead to Ada's new life in Nelson, England.
Okay, so she's safe now. But can she really escape what happened to her?
Right, the physical scars might heal, but the emotional ones, those are much deeper. And without her piano, there's this void in her life.
But Baines, he makes her a silver fingertip so she can play again.
It's such a beautiful gesture, but it's also a reminder of what she's lost.
It is. That silver fingertip, it's like a symbol of her strength, but also of the trauma that she'll always carry with her.
Ada actually describes the piano at the bottom of the ocean as a kind of lullaby, this haunting melody that's always playing in her memory.
That's so powerful. It's like saying the past is never really gone. It still shapes who we are.
And then comes this huge turning point for Ada. She decides to learn to speak again.
Whoa. After all this time.
It's like she's shedding all those layers of silence that have been both her shield and her prison. It's like she's ready to face the world in a whole new way.
So many questions come up, right? Is it about healing? About connecting with Baines and Flora on a deeper level? Or maybe it's about taking control of her own story, finally letting her voice be heard.
Jane Campion is a master at leaving things open to interpretation, isn't she? She gives us these powerful moments, these complex emotions, but she doesn't spoon-feed us the answers.
Exactly. She makes us think, she makes us feel, and that's what makes her films so incredible.
You know, we've talked a lot about the deeper meaning, the symbolism in the piano, but we can't forget about the actors.
Oh, yeah. The performances are incredible.
Holly Hunter as Ada, I mean, she's mesmerizing.
Right. And to think, not a single word spoken.
It's all in her eyes, her expressions, her movements. You feel everything she's going through.
It's a masterclass in nonverbal acting. No wonder she won the Oscar.
And then you have Anna Paquin as Flora.
11 years old.
11 years old. And she's incredible. So natural.
You totally forget you're watching a kid. She just embodies Flora, all that curiosity, that intelligence, and the weight she carries having to speak for her mother.
I mean, she more than holds her own with all these amazing adult actors. And she won an Oscar, too. Best Supporting Actress.
Amazing.
And, of course, Harvey Keitel as Baines. Such a fascinating character.
He's got this rugged charm, but there's also something a little bit dangerous about him.
He's drawn to Ada, but he also takes advantage of her situation. It's really complex.
Keitel is so good at playing those morally ambiguous characters. He makes you think, makes you question things.
And we can't forget Sam Neill is Alistair.
He's heartbreaking, You see his frustration, his desperation to understand Ada.
Neill really captures the complexity of the character. He's not just a villain. You understand his pain.
Even if you don't agree with what he does, you kind of get where he's coming from.
That's the power of great acting, right? It makes you connect with characters on a human level.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why the piano stays with you. It makes you think. It makes you feel.
It sparks conversations. It makes you question how we communicate, how we love, how we deal with loss. It's a film that's full of layers, just like we said at the beginning.
And as we come to the end of our deep dive, I want to ask you, what sticks with you the most about the piano?
That's a good question. I think for me, it's how the film shows us that there's so many ways to communicate. Words aren't always necessary. Music, touch, even silence can speak volumes.
Well said. I think The Piano is a film that everyone should experience. It's beautiful, it's haunting, it's thought-provoking. It's a true cinematic masterpiece. And that's it for our deep dive on The Piano. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more great movie reviews.